Hello students, how are you all? I hope you people are looking at your main syllabus and connecting it with the Hindu news articles whichever we read. As a reminder, every day I give, I want to remind again, I hope you're looking at your main syllabus, the terms you're identifying and correlating with the articles which you're reading. Second, I hope you're reading your PYQs and you are trying to understand the psyche of the paper setter, the examination you are trying to target to succeed in. And the next thing which I say is, whenever you read the article, please mark it down and then mention to which main syllabus this particular article belongs to. So let's go to the articles which we are required to read today. Yeah, the first thing, the first article which we will be reading in detail is Direct Tax Kitty picks up pace up 20.25% by Feb 10. Page number 1 page, this is related to GS paper 3 Indian economy. The second article which we will be reading is Parliamentary Affairs, page number 6, GS paper 2. The third article which is required to be read for today's newspaper is a privileged strategic partnership without a Gulf, that is on India UAE relationship, that is to be required to be dealt in detail, that we will look from all the dimensions. How women can be represented in politics, this is important for page number 7, GS1. This is important for pre and mains both, because there is introduction of women reservation bill for Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly both. This is important for GS paper 1, role of women in women's organization, population associated issues, poverty and development issues, etc. Then fifth article which you will be reading is Decoding India's Economic Reality on page number 8, GS paper 3. So this is related to Indian economy and issues related to planning, etc. The sixth article which you are required to read is Average Annual Sitting Days in Lok Sabha down to 55. This is important for parliament productivity, the meaning of parliament productivity, etc. and various dimensions connected to parliament productivity. This is important for GS paper 2. Then next article, please mark it down on page number 12. Over 3 lakh Ashas recently applied for a center's health cover. This is important for GS paper 2. 8th is ensure fair, equitable evaluation process in next house panel. We have to look at what is next. This is on page number 12, important for GS paper 2, statutory, regulatory and various quasi-judicial bodies. So let's take up the first article which is on our front page. Direct Tax Kitty picks up pace up 20.25% by Feb. अब इसमें आपको क्या क्या फोकस करने की जरूरत है, देखिए, you have to find out what is direct tax. So first of all, what is tax, the meaning, and then the classification, direct tax and indirect tax. Okay, and then once you classified and got the understanding of meaning of direct tax, indirect tax, you have to further read the disadvantages and advantages of direct tax and indirect tax, and then also you have to classify like what all taxes comes under direct tax and what all taxes comes under indirect tax, who collects it, who levies it, and under what all laws these taxes are levied. So all these things you have to read in this newspaper. Yeah, just have a look on the gist of the article. Next, tax mop-up. Direct tax collection are 80.23% of the revised estimates for financial year 2024 as of February 10. Gross direct tax collections amount to 18.38 lakh crore, showing a year-on-year growth of 17.3%. Direct tax collection net of refunds stands at 15 lakh crore, indicating a year-on-year growth of 20%. So direct taxes growth is increasing. The net corporate income tax comes under direct taxes, so has grown by 13.57%, and the net personal income tax has grown by 26%. So there is increase in all the constituent of direct taxes, whatever all come in the direct tax. Refunds amounting to 2.77 lakh crore have been issued. All these things are there. This line which you need to read is India's net direct taxes collection picked up space over the past months to rise 20.25% year-on-year compared to 19% uptick on the same date last year. In January, showed data released by Finance Ministry. Growth in personal income tax revenues continued to outstrip कॉर्पोरेट इनकम टैक्स. सो पर्सनल इनकम टैक्स जो है, जो उसका पर्सनल इनकम टैक्स का ग्रोथ है, दैट हैज आउटस्ट्रिप्ड द कॉर्पोरेट इनकम टैक्स with 26% uptick in net PIT collections vis-a-vis 13% rise in CIT flows this year. So this is a bit of, you know, some about this news. Let's look at in detail about the meaning of taxes, the direct taxes. As we said, we have to understand the meaning of tax, type of taxes like direct and indirect tax, kind of taxes which come under direct tax, indirect taxes, what is the advantage and disadvantage of both direct and indirect taxes. So let's read. What is tax? The cost of some transaction, goods and services is increased by types of tax in India, which the Indian government imposes on corporate profits and worker income in addition to the other costs. To raise money for commercial endeavors that would boost nation's economy and elevate citizens' quality for living, the government levies taxes on its constituents. So why government levies taxes? It levies taxes for the nation's to boost the nation's economy and elevate citizens' quality of living. Indian Constitution, which gives the state and central governments equal authority to impose different types of taxes in India, is the source of our nation's right to taxation. So right जो nation का right to taxation है, which the state and central government has got, is traced from where? It is traced from Constitution, Indian Constitution. All right. Next, types of taxes in India. There are two types of tax: direct tax and indirect tax. You have to understand what are the direct taxes, what are the indirect taxes, what all taxes come under direct, what all taxes come under indirect taxes. It is the direct tax directly imposed upon the taxpayer. It is directly imposed on the taxpayer and is paid by individuals who are subjected to it. So जिस पे ये लगाया जाता है, the same person pays the tax. It cannot be shifted to another person. So this is levying and collection direct taxes as well as developing other direct tax regulations fall within the purview of the Central Board of Direct Taxes. So levy or collect direct taxes तो किसके अंडर आता है? Central Board of Direct Taxes, CBDT. Examples, look at the examples of direct tax. कौन कौन से examples हैं? Income tax, corporation tax, minimum alternative tax, capital gain tax, securities transaction tax, commodities transaction tax, alternative. All these are examples of direct taxes which you need to remember. That's what has been mentioned in the article also. And indirect taxes are levied against the party who will ultimately bear the financial burden of the tax through the use of an intermediary. So एक intermediary होगा, ठीक है? तो जो पार्टी पे करेगी, like no, and जिस पे levied है, levied on one party, there's an intermediary who will shift to the second party. This is how this shifting of taxes will be on another party from the person on who the taxes had been levied. There will be intermediary who will be causing this shift of tax to be collected from actual payer. So the party who will ultimately bear the financial burden of the tax through the use of intermediary, the taxpayer has the option of to transfer it to another party. So through the middleman creates a tax return and sends the government's tax revenue with it. Example, मतलब जिस पार्टी पे टैक्स लिवाइड है और जो पार्टी एक्चुअल पे करेगी उसके बीच एक इंटरमीडियरी है, दैट विल हेल्प द बर्डन ऑफ द टैक्स टू बी पेड ऑन द अनदर पार्टी. सो जिस पे लिवाई है वो पर्सन टैक्स ना पे करके सम अदर पार्टी विल बी पेइंग द टैक्सेस. दैट्स व्हाट इज कॉल्ड इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस. एग्जांपल क्या है इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस के? कस्टम ड्यूटी, सेल्स टैक्स, एक्साइज ड्यूटी, सर्विस टैक्स. मतलब मान लो कोई प्रोड्यूसर है, ठीक है, वो कोई प्रोडक्ट प्रोड्यूस करता है, ठीक है, और इस पे सम डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस वो कुछ पे करता है एंड यहाँ पे कंज्यूमर है. जो कंज्यूमर पे करेगा यहाँ पे जो टैक्स प्रोड्यूसर है वो शिफ्ट कर सकता है कंज्यूमर पे, एंड जो फाइनल सेल्स टैक्स होगा दैट विल बी पेड बाय द कंज्यूमर. जो फाइनल सेलिंग जो प्राइस है उसमें सारे टैक्सेस इंक्लूडेड हैं, तो इसका मतलब कंज्यूमर सारा बर्डन पे कर रहा है जो ऑफ दैट प्रोडक्ट. तो दिस कम्स अंडर इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस. एंड देन सर्विस टैक्स, वैल्यू एडेड टैक्स एंड डिविडेंड डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन टैक्स, ऑल दीज टैक्स कम्स अंडर इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेस. What is the difference between direct and indirect taxes? The meaning of direct tax is levied directly on the individuals or corporations. This levied on one entity but is passed on to the final consumer. ठीक है, जैसे प्रोड्यूसर पे लगाया गया बट कंज्यूमर फाइनल पे करेगा, तो दैट इज इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स. इंसिडेंस, द इंसिडेंस एंड इम्पैक्ट ऑफ डायरेक्ट टैक्स फॉल ऑन द सेम पर्सन. इंसिडेंट मतलब जिस पे जहाँ से टैक्स कलेक्ट करना है एंड जो टैक्स पे करेगा वो सेम ही होता है. द इंसिडेंस फॉल्स ऑन द सेम पर्सन. बट यहाँ पे डिफरेंट है. ठीक है, नेचर क्या है, प्रोग्रेसिव का है, बिकॉज डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस विल बी लेविड एंड कलेक्टेड फ्रॉम द सेम पर्सन. तो उसमें अक्सर क्या होता है कि जो डायरेक्ट टैक्सेस में कॉर्पोरेशन टैक्स, पर्सनल इनकम टैक्स, ऑल दीज थिंग्स आता है, तो इसलिए इसको प्रोग्रेसिव बोलता है, प्रोग्रेसिव टैक्सेशन बोला जाता है, बिकॉज सेम पर्सन ऑन हुज इट वाज लिवाइड गिव्स दिस टैक्स. बट इसमें क्या होता है, इनडायरेक्ट टैक्सेशन दिस कैन बी शिफ्टेड. और अक्सर जो कंज्यूमर होता है वो तो दैट इज पुअर, मिडिल क्लास, हायर मिडिल क्लास, रिच, एवरीबडी कम्स अंडर कंज्यूमर. एंड कंज्यूमर की अलग अलग कैपेसिटी होती है, तो चाहे वो गरीब हो, चाहे अमीर हो, चाहे मिडिल इनकम ग्रुप का हो, ऑल ऑफ देम आर पेइंग द टैक्सेस इक्वली. इसलिए इनडायरेक्ट टैक्स को रिग्रेसिव टैक्सेशन भी बोला जाता है. एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कॉस्ट इज हायर, इसमें एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कॉस्ट लोअर होता है. टैक्स इवेजन पॉसिबल, नो पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ टैक्स इवेजन, बिकॉज आप प्रोडक्ट खरीद रहे हो तो आपको डायरेक्ट सेल ही करना पड़ता है. टैक्स इवेजन इज is possible in direct taxes because क्योंकि बहुत बार ऐसा क्या होता है कि एक कंट्री से दूसरी कंट्री में अपना प्रोडक्शन यूनिट लोग शिफ्ट कर देते हैं, एंड दैट्स हाउ दे कैन. एंड बहुत सारे कंट्रीज़ के साथ हमारा कुछ इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज़ एंड इकोनॉमिक टाइज हैं, जिसमें हम बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पशन देते हैं दूसरी कंट्रीज़ को. अगर वहाँ पे कोई प्लांट सेटअप करता है तो वहाँ जाके प्लांट सेटअप कर लेंगे, तो ऑल दोज टैक्सेशन कैन बी इवेडेड, एंड दिस इज लीगल. एक्चुअली टैक्स इवेजन इज लीगल, सो दैट्स हाउ दे कैन इवेड द टैक्सेस. And that is why tax evasion in direct taxes is possible. It's not possible because consumer को तो जो भी वो खरीदेगा he has to pay the entire tax. उसमें कोई tax evasion की possibility ही नहीं है. So this is about difference. And what kind of questions we can see is we can, questions might come that what do you understand by direct and indirect taxes? Should the direct taxes be more or the indirect taxes be more? This kind of questions can be asked, and there has been a lot of PYQs on direct and indirect taxes. You can go through the previous year question paper and solve and see whether those questions could be cleared by this content. And then next article जो हम पढ़ने वाले हैं, that is a privileged strategic partnership without Gulf. This is about India-UAE relationship on the editorial page. Directly let's go to editorial page. Recently, Prime Minister is scheduled to pay an official visit to UAE from February 13-14, 2024, which will include inaugurating a temple built by Bochas Vasi Shri Akshar Purushottam Swami Narayan Sanstha in Abu Dhabi. So please mark this name, a temple in Abu Dhabi, the Bochas Vasi Shri Akshar Purushottam Swami Narayan Sanstha in Abu Dhabi. So this might come in prelims. And then the next thing is BAPS temple, which is built in 27-acre plot of land donated by UAE President, will be the second big Hindu temple to be inaugurated in UAE in recent years. The first being the Hindu temple in Dubai, opened in October 2022. So this is the second temple which will be opened. The first was opened in 2022. Mr. Modi will also address the World Government Summit on February 14 in Dubai as guest of honor. So these are some takeaways from this article. आपको इस आर्टिकल से क्या क्या लेना है is India-UAE relationship in terms of energy, economy, strategic ties. So these are the points which you have to note it down. Let's deconstruct this article one by one. Context. Among India's strategic partnership agreements, none display more convergence and mutual respect at all levels than the one with the UAE. That means we do have a very significant and very good relationship with UAE. जैसा कि हमने देखा कि एक टेम्पल was inaugurated in 2022, next is scheduled. So, and UAE president himself has given the funding for this temple. So this marks the significance of relationship of India UAE. उस आर्टिकल में जो भी लिखा है उसको हमने इसको डीकंस्ट्रक्ट किया है. अगर इंट्रोडक्शन की बात करें इस आर्टिकल से, अगर हम इंट्रोडक्शन डिराइव करते हैं तो क्या है, इज सेट टू विजिट UAE फ्रॉम फरवरी दिस मंथ एंड इंडिया स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. UAE हैज बिकम इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर इंडिया स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप. दिस इज द टेम्पल विच हैज बीन मेंशन विच वी रेड फ्रॉम द आर्टिकल. इंडिया UAE रिलेशनशिप एंड इकोनॉमिक पार्टनरशिप. अब इंडिया UAE का रिलेशन, जब भी हम कोई भी बायलैटरल रिलेशंस पढ़ते हैं तो उसमें एक इकोनॉमिक रिलेशन पढ़ते हैं, diplomatic relations, energy, especially we do emphasize if it comes to regions in Middle East, etc. And then some defense ties we look at if it is important, if the country is important with that perspective, with that point of view. So the first thing which we will look at in this article is economic partnership. India UAE relationship extends beyond strategic partnership. ये सिर्फ strategic नहीं, economic partnership भी the relationship extends to, with notable events like UAE President facilitation on 10th Vibrant Gujarat Summit and the co-launch of Global Green Credit Initiative. So these are the initiatives you need to remember. Bilateral trade grew from $84 billion to becoming the second largest export destination. UAE India's third largest partner and now its second largest export destination. India UAE comprehensive economic partnership is there which aims to increase trade in services to $115 billion in 5 years. So these are some of the economic partnership points. Fintech convergence is there. It is evident with RuPay card accepted in UAE. So imagine the kind of economic ties we have. There is a acceptance of RuPay card in UAE. This one point you can mention. Then as we saw economic ties, now let's add energy security, because India UAE is important for fuel, etc. We can import a lot of fuel. UAE is also India's trusted partnership in energy security, being the only nation from the region which has strategic oil reserves stored in India. So this is important for PD point, being the only nation from the region which has strategic oil reserves stored in India. India जो UAE है that has strategic oil reserve stored in India. An agreement was signed in Indian partner strategic petroleum reserves, all right, and the Abu Dhabi National Oil Company to invest in the strategic crude oil storage facility in Mangalore with an initial investment of $400 million. So these are some points. And then after energy security, you have to look at strategic ties. What are the key points in strategic ties? Both countries are in close coordination, part of number of important groupings such as I2, U2 or the West Asian Quad comprising India. क्या है I2, U2 में कौन कौन है और इसको क्या बोलते हैं, वेस्ट एशियन क्वाड बोलते हैं. इसमें कौन कौन है, इंडिया, इजराइल, यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स एंड UAE. दिस इज वेरी 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 important for prelims point of view, that what are the countries which comes under I2, U2, West Asian Quad. UAE is also part of Middle East Europe Economic Corridor, IMEEC. So UAE is also part of India Middle East Europe Economic Corridor. These are the strategic ties. It aims to connect India to Europe across Arabian Peninsula. All right, these are some important points in strategic ties, and this is how you can have a reference for India UAE relationship. Anything, जो भी bilateral relationship, अगर हम bilateral relations की बात करते हैं foreign relation में किसी भी country के साथ, तो whatever you see it has to be seen in 4-5 dimensions, like energy ties, security if it's there, and then economic ties, strategic ties, all these things. So these were some points about India UAE relation. And next article which is required to be looked at is how women can be represented in politics. देखो एक आर्टिकल हमने, there is an article on conjuring a catharsis, the white paper in the economy is a political diversion. कुछ दिन के पहले वाले सेशन में हमने ये देखा था व्हाइट पेपर क्या होता है, ब्लैक पेपर क्या होता है, व्हाट आर द एम्स एंड ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ व्हाइट पेपर, ब्लैक पेपर. So this article is more or less same for the on the same line. Please go back to that session and do watch what is white paper, what is black paper. Next article, this one is important for us, how women can be represented in politics. With the women's reservation bill being passed in parliament last year, the debate on whether quota within political parties or in parliament and state assembly may be the best route for increasing women's representation. So women का representation politics में बहुत कम है. some articles, some data and facts we will look at while we will refer the PPT, while we will refer the more contents which are required for this article to cover it holistically. You will see that women's representation in politics, even in bureaucracy, is very low. We'll see some reasons for low representation, and and some facts which show that women representation in politics and bureaucracy is very low, and then we will see some solutions and a conclusion also. So a question might come that draw the reasons behind poor representation of women in politics and bureaucracy, or it might say that women's low representation in all other spheres of society, say politics, economy, job sector, and bureaucracy, etc. What is the cause behind it? And if we talk about political representation, women's representation in politics, how women reservation bill is going to be a solution. So this is all about which you have to take from this article, women reservation bill. Let's deconstruct this article by reading the content in detail, how women can be represented in politics. तो थोड़ा सा कुछ facts देखिए, which is according to International Monetary Fund, India's economy will grow by 6.8% compared to the US 1.6%. इसके बावजूद भी women का participation in country's economy, polity, society has not kept the pace. Women constitute almost 50% of the population of India, and still women's representation in all these spheres of society, polity and economy is low. What is the cause behind it? Elections are जो elections अभी हुए हैं उसमें देखा गया कि women जो voter का presentation है, women share in voter list has gone up, but women contesting the election still remains very low. So these what are the facts behind it? तो facts ये देखेंगे कि reason क्या है, need of the hour क्या है to address the roadblocks in the representation of women. तो ये कैसे है अभी थोड़ा देख लो कि some facts, as I said, we will be looking at some facts which will show that what is the status of women presentation in politics. As per data compiled by Inter-Parliamentary Union in the India, women make up only 14.44, approx just 15% of the 17th Lok Sabha. As per the latest available report of Election Commission of India, women represent only 10.5% of all members of parliament, only 10.5%. Imagine the low representation. For all the state assemblies, female MLAs representation stands at an average of 9% only. India's ranking in this regard has fall किया है over the last few years. It is currently behind Pakistan, Bangladesh and Nepal. मतलब कंट्री जो हमारी नेबरिंग कंट्रीज है, पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश, नेपाल, उससे भी लो है वुमेन का रिप्रेजेंटेशन. सो इमेजिन द ग्रेविटी ऑफ द सिचुएशन एंड द सॉल्यूशन व्हिच हैज टू बी सॉल्व्ड. Before we look at the solution, let's look at the causes behind low representation of women in politics. India is deeply patriarchal society, due to which women are expected to conform to traditional gender roles and are discouraged from pursuing careers in politics. Social norms and stereotypes dictate the women should prioritize their roles as wives, mothers, sisters. Politics is often considered a man's domain. So patriarchy, the women are expected to perform the traditional role as wives, mothers, sisters, and women, and the politics is considered to be man's domain. So this is one of the few causes. Further, the women in India have historically had limited access to education. So low access to education is another reason. Women are often underrepresented in political parties, making it difficult for them to rise through the rank. मतलब अगर गलती से women enter भी कर जाती है politics में, there are very low chances that women will rise the ladder in the politics. So there is discouragement among women that why they should join politics. Often अगर आप low level पे देखेंगे, low पंचायती राज वगैरह देखेंगे, 73rd 74th जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट है, representation of women in पंचायती राज, even though there is reservation, there are presence of पंचायत पतीज, सरपंच पतीज जिसको बोलते हैं, वुमेन तो ठीक है, वुमेन के नाम पे इलेक्शन लड़ लिया जाता है, बट एक्चुअल जो प्रधान होता कौन है, पति होता है. he goes to the people, he meets the people, just sign ले लेते हैं women का. तो सरपंच पति वगैरह जो ये सब incidents है, that also kind of, you know, though there is a representation of women at grassroots level, there is a reservation, still prevalence of patriarchy, prevalence of male dominance discourages women to go into the politics. So that is another reason. So इसका solution क्या है? How they can be presented better? Reservation of seats. That is why there is an introduction of women reservation bill for Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Provide education and training. Encourage participation from local women leaders. Women's representation in politics can be increased by encouraging and supporting local women leaders. This can be achieved through mentorship programs and support initiatives. Question क्या पूछा सकता है इस पे? एक देख लीजिए. What are the major challenges hindering women's representation in politics in India and what measures can be taken to overcome? अगर ऐसा क्वेश्चन आ सकता है, आता है, and this is very much probable area also to be asked. So with this content you can read this extra point which has been given about low representation, some facts, what are the causes, what could be the solution, and way ahead. And that is how you can attempt this question very easily. So this is all about today's news and today's The Hindu. Hope you are following your newspaper regularly and not missing on anything. Newspaper forms a very important aspect of your UPSC preparation. Lot of things do get covered by your newspaper only, क्योंकि newspaper में most of the things are given, थोड़ा सा जो जिस देते हैं उसमें basics भी दे देते हैं behind that issue. If you are reading your newspaper daily, even if prelims is tomorrow, even if the mains is tomorrow, even if you are appearing for the interview the very day, you are supposed to keep reading newspaper. Prelims के एक दिन पहले भी क्या पता, you might get some article in the news, 2-3 questions you will get in your prelims if that is your day. Also in mains, so do keep reading newspaper even if it's prelims tomorrow, even if it's mains tomorrow, even if you are appearing for your final interview tomorrow. So with this thought, let's stop discussion of today. See you tomorrow. All the best and Tathastu.